Starfield is ever so close, and thank you so much for that spectacular performance. Really appreciate you coming all the way for this. It's true, in just over a week, fans will start to play Starfield in early access on Xbox and PC. While I've been lucky enough to start playing it, don't be jealous, I'm not allowed to say anything about it. Yes, exactly. All right, well, guys. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Really disappointed. They're disappointed. That's just so disappointing. This is such a special night for so many developers, and it's really disappointing to see someone act that way. But we're going to move right on with the show. We've got a lot.
So disappointing. It's such a shame.
Very disappointing.
Such a shame. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. We are the Game Reactionists. I am Rorschach.
And I'm Spectre.
And that is how we're
I'm Bill Clinton.
And we are Bill Clinton. So I thought that would be a good way to start off episode 3 for the Reacticast.
It's just some good old-fashioned, trolling. It's just, of all the things that have changed over the years, I'm glad that that's still a thing. It's just some fun and some unpredictability and chaos, still out there. So it is kind of heartwarming to see that still. So, it's terribly unfun for Jeff Keighley, I'm sure, but for everybody else, it's a lot of fun.
It's happened to him twice now at the Video Game Awards, where that kid stuck up on stage, and now here, those individuals probably are right for the most part. I think there are a lot of people who are looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 6. Spectre, are you looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 6?
God, no. Are you kidding me? No, absolutely not. Even if I was like a fan of the older games, everything we've learned about not to get off on a rant here, but everything we've learned about Grand Theft Auto 6, it makes it look like dog shit. So, I could not be less enthused about it. I'm not a GTA player in general, but between the shakeups and the environment at Rockstar, and in terms of all the rumors of how they're trying to kind of become more PC there, and the female protagonist. That really boggles my mind.
So, okay, I'll say one thing: the female protagonist, that doesn't bother me. Whatever, it's Grand Theft Auto. I'm a big fan of the Grand Theft Auto games. Even GTA 5. I was a big fan of GTA 5 when it first came out on Xbox 360 10 years ago. Okay. And I've always been a big fan of Grand Theft Auto, starting with Grand Theft Auto 3. GTA 1 and 2 those were bad games. I don't know how the series managed to survive those two entries, but they did. And so the female protagonist thing, that doesn't bother me so much, but what really bothers me is what you alluded to, was the whole, like you said, the whole social shift within Rockstar. How do you tame a video game like Grand Theft Auto, which was always designed to be a parody upon actual society. That's what it was.
It's going the way of I mean, from the sound. I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but from the sounds of it, from what I've heard, it's going the way of like Blizzard, where you had this amazing pool of extremely talented people that came together and made incredible experiences. And I mean, I get it. People move on, life happens, and people move in different directions. But just because they still have the same name on the door, it doesn't mean it's the same company. Right. So I'm personally not that enthused about it. I mean, obviously, when it does eventually inevitably come out, it will sell like crazy, I'm sure. But I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta say, as of now, it's hard for me to say that I would get it. Right now, with what I know about it, I would say I would not get it. But that's because I don't know anything about it. Who knows?
That's a way better list you got there. I'm seeing that now, the Gamescom list. The IGN one is like all over the place. It feels like I'm reading like cave paintings or some shit. Like I have to go through and okay, here's a blurb about this. Like this is all I wanted. I just want a list of okay, it happened from here to here in chronological order. That's all I want. And
all of these, we're not going to talk about all of these, but we got a little sidetracked from our intro. This is episode 3 of the Reacticast, of the Games Reacticast, featuring the game reactionists. I gotta say, all joking aside, with Bill Clinton and Grand Theft Auto 6, I am a doubter. I still am a doubter of Starfield, but I will say that trailer kind of has me intrigued, and I'm still a subscriber of Game Pass. Maybe I'll download it and mess around with it and see what it's about.
I mean, I guess for you may as well try it since you already have Game Pass. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's a live action trailer. I mean, it's not really, I mean, it's a whatever. It doesn't really inspire much for me, but
no,
but maybe some people like it. I don't know. It doesn't really do anything for me.
I guess for me, I like the music selection, and we just did an episode of trailers, as a matter of fact, and talking about game trailers that get you wanting to check out the game, grab your attention, and I don't know. For me, I think that trailer grabbed my attention. I may just end up preloading it, and I'll check it out. I'm kind of in a lull.
It looks really nice. I mean, clearly a lot of money was spent on that trailer, but it's not. I don't know. It didn't really inspire a lot of mystery or a desire for me to explore this universe. It's. I mean, I'm really buying Starfield. I have Starfield actually ready to go on my system. You can't preload it yet, but I have it ready to go on my Steam, but I'm really buying it based just on the pedigree of the developer. I mean, it's Bethesda. I love Elder Scrolls. I love Fallout. So I mean, if they're trying a stab at a new RPG world, I'll bite. I'll check it out. I mean, it's that's what's kind of drawing me in. If nothing else, even if the game is kind of a failure, I know it's probably going to have a very active modding community. And people will be playing this for a while and developing it and maybe making it a better game over time, even in spite of Bethesda. So that's what has me intrigued about it. But that trailer, I mean, I don't know, maybe
we don't have to hang up. We don't have to hang up on the trailer too much.
I agree.
I'm just speaking for me personally. How I was not. I'm not looking forward to the game. Me personally, that trailer kind of has me gripped.
What are you looking forward to? You're not looking forward to that. You're not looking forward to Armored Core. You're not. What are you looking forward to?
Well, Lies of P. That comes out in September.
PP? Right.
Lives of Pinocchio. That's the next big title that I'll be sinking my teeth into, and then we get into October where we got Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Super Mario RPG is in November, I believe. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, which I think I'm just buying those for my own personal collection, kind of out of necessity, since I am a big Metal Gear fan. Right, obligation. That's the word. I'm a couple bourbons deep already, so forgive me.
Well, we kind of meandered a little bit, but I mean we did talk about the trailer for Starfield here, but a lot of stuff happened at Gamescom. So I mean, there's not all of it interesting or terribly important. So I think we're going to kind of prune the list a little bit here, like you said, and go through stuff that that maybe resonates with us a little bit or we find interesting. And
yeah. So you're a big Tekken guy, right?
I am.
All right. Well, let's get started with Tekken. Let's check out this Tekken trailer here.
Going somewhere?
Yes! 戦闘開始する
決めたから英語つけたらcomo son
失敗bajuguesa.
es hora de entrar
Observa
Kadra chuche.
Heihachi Mishima is dead أريد معرفة الحقيقة Let's go.
Willst du im Sparring gegen mich antreten?
Yoshimitsu Kendo.
Oh, you can make your own me.
Yep. That's cute.
俺は全てを手に入れる Eat this!
What's done is done. Kitana.
What the hell?
Forgive me.
bajaste la guardia
Get ready for the next battle!
PS5, Series X and S, and Steam. January 26, 2024. Standard, Deluxe, and Ultimate Edition available for pre-order.
And a collector's edition available through the Bandai Namco.
Send me the
website.
link to that real quick. I can pull it up.
Okay.
Or maybe they'll show it on here, actually. There it is.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yep. We can pause here real quick. Okay, so the collector's edition. I hate these little things here.
So no, I'm excited for this. I'm a Tekken fan. I wouldn't say I'm a huge crazy Tekken fan, but I'm a casual fan. I'm not really a fighting game guy in general, but I enjoy Tekken. I enjoy things like Soul Calibur, and if you count it as a fighting game, I enjoy Smash Brothers as well too.
Of course, it's a fighting game.
So I enjoy those games, and yeah, Tekken. I've been into the series since Tekken 2. I've always enjoyed it quite a bit. Tekken Tag Tournament was really what got me to buy a PlayStation 2 at launch. So I'm excited for this. It looks fantastic. I enjoyed Tekken 7. And this is even surprisingly from a story standpoint, it's kind of interesting. Heihachi's as it said in the trailer there, Heihachi's dead from the end of the previous game, or end of Tekken 7. So now it's going to be this. The story is going to be, I'm sure, about Jin fighting against his father Kazuya, and kind of the battle between the two of them. And I believe I don't know if it was shown in the trailer there, but. You have June coming back as well too, and I think she's been out of the series since Tekken 2 actually. So she's actually coming back now when she was killed off, I think, back then. So, but she's actually going to be coming back in some form for this game. And yeah, no, I mean, it looks really cool. Even the goofy little arcade mode looks intriguing, I guess. We'll see what they do with that.
Yeah, and watching this trailer, I can see why you're a fan of this, and I can see why I'm not. Knowing you personally, you're kind of into the more quirky, campy style of pretty much any medium. I think that's fair to say.
In particular for this, I think the word is kind of anime-esque.
Sure.
It is definitely very, anime style, kind of inspired and goofy and over the top and about, goofy, serious sounding strong guys that, fighting off against each other and taking things way too seriously. But also simultaneously you have, giant pandas fighting each other and robots and goofy stuff happening and little schoolgirls fighting each other.
Yeah,
this all exists. It's literally a battle of good and evil and devils and stuff like that. But then it simultaneously exists in the same universe where you have a cyborg cutesy robot girl and all this stuff. It's kind of funny. It's that weird contrast of things, and it has a goofy tone. I think Tekken's always kind of had a sort of a semi-goofy tone to it.
Sure.
But I enjoy it quite a bit. It's just a fun experience. I'm not I don't claim to be like some kind of expert at the game. I'm very much a casual player. I do play online with it. I played online with Tekken 7 and it was a very mixed experience. I had some luck against more inexperienced players, and a lot of other players dance circles around me. So I'm not like an expert level player by any stretch of the imagination, but I do enjoy it. I have a good time with it. So I do have my pre-order on that collector's edition. That statue looks really, really nice too. That's of Jin, and that actually I think that combines really well. I should have it with me here to kind of show off, but I have the Tekken 7 statue. That's Kazuya fighting against Heihachi. There's it's a really cool statue because it's sort of like he's suspended in midair, flying, kicking at Heihachi, and this I think this pairs well with it to some degree because it shows it's about Jin this time. So
almost looks like it's going to have some type of LED lighting too.
Yeah, I don't know what it's referring to there with the kind of the electrified type of thing. I do like the little that's kind of a clever thing. The little chain link thing is the 8th. That's kind of a cool little thing. That steelbook looks really nice too. I like that steelbook back there. That looks really, really nice as well. And it looks like you get all the usual stuff. It looks like a whole smorgasbord of DLC content. I think you get a character pass of this as well. So the first year of characters that they add to it, you get. So yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I'm not like
you can create your Miis. You got your accessory.
I can create my Mii, and I'm not as excited for this as I am for, let's say, an Armored Core, which I really would like to play right now. But I have to wait until it comes in another day or so. But yeah, no, I am looking forward to Tekken 8. That's going to be a nice start to 2024. Because to be honest, I've been saying this in other videos we've done as well too. There's not much to look forward to in 2024, at least for someone of my taste. So this is nice to have another game, just like this year, where we opened up right away with Dead Space. We have another strong game here, another reliable, good game to open the year with.
Yeah, so. I would agree with that. I'll be honest with you. I'm combing through my memory banks in my brain. I don't think I've ever played a Tekken game in my life.
It's a blast.
I say that as somebody who's not a big fighting game fan as it is, but when it comes to fighting games, I have always been about Mortal Kombat and Super Smash Brothers. Those were the fighting games that I played, and Mortal Kombat 1, the new one coming out, actually I'm kind of thinking that might actually be a day one purchase for me. I really liked what I've been seeing with the fatalities, and that's what Mortal Kombat is all about. I like that they really didn't take their foot off the gas with that, and we'll go over that later on in the show.
I think there's definitely a place out there for Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat was always more, to me, it was more the spectacle kind of game. It wasn't really the deep fighter experience that necessarily always felt good, but it looked really cool and funny and over the top violent and extremely gory, and if anything it's become much more gory over time. So that's the appeal to it. I think for Tekken, if I were to encapsulate it, it obviously has a very different tone to it, but I think it's more so about, I'm not saying it's a deep fight or whatever that means, I'm just saying it has very good.
I would
solid
say
mechanics to
Tekken
it.
has more combinations to it than even Mortal Kombat. Maybe that's changed over the years. Maybe Mortal Kombat has been more in depth. But I think, if I'm remembering correctly, as a kid, the one thing that was always more enticing for me with Mortal Kombat is that it was always more introductory friendly, I guess is the phrase I want to use.
Yeah.
And whereas games
I
like
don't
Tekken was always like, that was the game you went to after you had gained that experience and that confidence to be able to handle those more intuitive combinations. And I just never
Tekken-
was about
yeah.
that.
Tekken kind of added that element of it added a sort of another dimension literally to the fight where Mortal Kombat was more so you couldn't really like do like a sidestep or anything. Tekken was all about sidestepping, moving around, and kind of it's a 3D space essentially, and of course that's pretty common in fighting games now. But that was kind of always sort of what stood out to me for Tekken. That was like the first like 3D fighter I played where you could kind of like sidestep an enemy's attack or things like that. So I've always enjoyed it. I got into it like I said with Tekken 2, and I've kind of been a fan of it ever since. I'm not like a religious player, like I don't play every single game, but I played. I got back into 7, enjoyed that, and this one looks pretty great too. So I'll be getting into this one.
Very cool. Moving right along, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I'm not going to watch this because it's a 10-minute gameplay. But I am the channel's Call of Duty player / fan, I guess. I wouldn't say I'm a fanatic. I very much enjoy Warzone. And so I did see this gameplay demo on opening night live for Gamescom, and they're introducing a lot of unique things with the Call of Duty campaign, which makes me think I might buy the full game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm gonna look this up real quick here and kind of banter. One thing to know with Warzone, with the new Warzone, all of your stuff that you have in Warzone 2 with regards to your operators and the guns you've unlocked, as well as their attachments, those will transfer over into the new game. So if you're
That's
a
good.
person like
You're
myself,
not starting from scratch.
yeah, so if you're an individual like myself who may have bought a skin, or you've put in the time to fully unlock a gun to get all the attachments in order to create your loadouts, you don't lose all of those hours of gameplay. And that's one thing that really sours me when developers do that crap. When Overwatch is a perfect example. You had these players that spent all this time in your first game. You launch Overwatch 2, and then it's basically starting from scratch. Nothing transfers over from the original game, and it's still essentially the same game. So
But they want to charge you again.
yeah, and they want you to pay for the new. They want you to pay for the quote unquote new operators. I'll call them, but they're still the same operators. I'm trying to find an article so I can articulate this properly. Here we go. Open Combat. So this kind of has me intrigued. They call it the Open Combat, the campaign Open Combat mission. Where it's kind of, I guess they're trying to like allow you to tackle a mission any way you want. So if you want to play the mission a little more stealthily, you can. You won't be forced into situations that require you to go guns blazing. And the flip side to that is if you want to go guns blazing, you can go guns blazing. So I thought that's pretty cool. I kind of saw a hint to that in Modern Warfare 2's campaign. There were a couple of missions there where it really like emphasized your capability of playing it stealthily, and if you did so successfully, you wouldn't have to worry about like big shootouts and whatnot. So it's kind of it's good to see these little things that Sledgehammer Games is trying to make the game feel fresh for you. Because you play a Call of Duty game and you think it's going to be guns blazing in the campaign. Like, you might have a short mission of stealth or sneak, and then then everything hits the fan. So I like that. I think that's cool. I'm really looking forward to the new Warzone. I'm a big fan of Warzone. I was never a big fan of those. I'm drawing a blank here. The alcohol's starting to hit me, but I'm drawing a blank. Battle Royale games. Thank you. Yeah, Battle Royale games. Took me a minute. I was never a big fan of them, but I really like Warzone. I honestly think it's the best Battle Royale game out there. Fortnite is too cartoony and goofy for me. PUBG it looks like a PlayStation 2 game, and it's just an eyesore. But Call of Duty, despite all its flaws, works really well for the most part. So that's what I got to say about Modern Warfare 3. I know it's something that you're not necessarily caring or looking forward to.
I'm not as much of a Call of Duty fan, really. I was more of a fan of the older games, like the previous games, like going back to like Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, things like that. Like, I mean, the original run of that, not the remakes of that.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed those. Like, I really enjoyed World at War. I think I played that one the most. Really enjoyed that game quite a bit. But yeah, I just I've kind of moved away from the series. My multiplayer tastes have gone into like it was Battlefield, but I don't have Battlefield anymore because that game is kind of dead right now. So I
dead.
I do other stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel too. I did with the they had like a special mission in Warzone for the Modern Warfare 3 announcement last week. They did make a reference to the infamous No Russian mission from the original Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
But this time it takes place on a plane, it looks like. So, and I was just talking about this. I forget which episode I was mentioning this, but I specifically mentioned I really hope that the Modern Warfare 3 campaign really pushes the envelope and really essentially makes people uncomfortable, because it is a military shooter, and it's not something that's meant to make you feel good inside. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable because these things do happen in real life when it comes to military missions and special ops and dark missions and things like that. But I really liked seeing No Russian mentioned. I'm really hoping they put me in control and put me in charge of some unsavory activity, I'll say.
Okay.
For the sake of the channel. All right. Moving right along. I think this one, Lords of the Fallen, you're kind of intrigued by this one.
To some degree, yeah. No, it's I think we both are to some degree. I mean, it is you're a fan of the Soulsborne genre. I think it's safe to say.
Oh yeah.
And I played the original Lords of the Fallen. This is kind of a I guess you could say a do-over, a reimagining. Nobody really knows how to classify this. It's the same publisher, I believe, but it's a different developer. So there's some story beats that I guess that are kind of similar, and the original Lords of the Fallen came out. It was kind of a disappointment. I played it because it was $5, so I'm like, you can't go wrong for $5 with all the DLC, and it was okay for what it was. And I say that as a non-Soulsborne fan. I think it kind of did some things better than actually some of the Soulsborne games, but it was not by any stretch of the imagination a great game. But for $5, hey, can't go wrong. And for this one, it looks like there's more of a, from what I've seen of this one so far, it looks like there's more of a, we're trying this time.
That's what you said. Lords of the Fallen, we tried this time.
We tried this time. Yeah, it's what it looks like. So I mean, honestly, it looks okay for. Keeping in mind this is not like some giant AAA type of game. I mean, it honestly looks okay. I don't know if it's going to be a day one purchase for me. Most definitely, probably not. But hey, I might pick it up if it goes down a little bit. Over time. I mean, maybe I won't wait until it's $5, but maybe I'll pick it up before then. But I mean, I don't know. It's what are your thoughts on it?
Well, let's check out the trailer, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. It's a 2-minute trailer too, so it won't be too long.
You never possessed the metal for this, Crusader. You fail.
All right.
I look upon you with pity, my lost child. For you have been deceived. Another sin. They brand me evil. A tyrant. And yet I offer you something they will not. A choice.
Hello again, deathless one.
After all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny. See what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. Now you will know darkness, brother. Of a god human. Kneel before me and beg for forgiveness. And remember, you look into the shadows, might be the shadows look back.
Looks dope. So yeah, as you said, I'm a big Soulsborne fan. I love Elden Ring, Dark Souls games, Demon Souls, Bloodborne.
I mean, if this was I'll say for my part, if this was a less jam-packed year, I would consider, like an early purchase for it, but it's, I mean, man, there's just so much going on right now. I have a game coming out, it's out right now, basically, and then I have another one a week from today, and that's going to be like a 100-hour plus trek. So it's like, I'm not really desperate for games right now.
Right, and that's kind of where I'm at. I did play the original Lords of the Fallen, so when this new version got first announced, I didn't even realize that it was, I don't know what this is, a remake, a remaster, a reimagining? What is this game? It's my question.
It's confusing. That's what it is.
And, but I did check out the original, because the original came out in, 2015? Or something like that?
It was like 2015, 2014.
It's been a while. And it was very clunky. It was very hard for me to want to sit down and play it. The controls weren't as tight as I'd become accustomed to when it comes to games like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne. It felt like a very awkward handling game, which impacts your ability to successfully complete combat. And that's what I was running into. I was running into more issues with combat on Lords of the Fallen than I was the Soulsborne games. The games that are notorious for being a little bit more challenging when it comes to combat. And I got to the first boss, and I tried going past that, and I was like, you know what? I can't do it. It's just too clunky for me. I'm moving on. However, I'm going to give this one a shot, mainly because this is the collector's edition of the new one coming out. And I got to tell you, this is a damn good looking collector's edition. I love this statue. The steelbook looks great. Double-sided poster with art cards. 100-page art book. I mean, this has got everything you would want from a collector's edition and then some.
It looks nice, and I'm trying to be more, in some ways I'm trying to be more picky about collector's editions, but I mean, it does kind of have everything you'd want from it. A really nice looking statue. What's the price on that again, by the way?
I think this one does retail for $250, and I think it's a GameStop exclusive. I could be mistaken, but I believe it is a GameStop exclusive. But even if it's not, it is pricey, and I'm with you.
I'm pulling it up right now here. Yeah, you're right. It is $249.
Okay.
And okay, so you get a display case. Okay, and you get some DLC, art cards, digital soundtrack. It is a 50-page art book.
What?
And that's what it says here. The Dark Crusader starting class. So that's like a DLC thing, I'm assuming. A bunch of healing potions. You get a physical pre-order bonus as well. To pre-order now to receive an exclusive metal replica of a pendant. And it's not telling me what the...
I'm on GameStop's website right now, and even on GameStop's website, it says 100-page hardcover art book.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It says collectors, but then you go into collector's edition content. It says luxury 50-page art book. Go down, right there.
Oh yeah, I see that.
So interesting in there, GameStop.
I wonder if that's a typo, GameStop. Which is it? Which is it? My $250 hinges on that extra 50 pages. All right.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess, and that's only about almost like a 7-inch statue. So it's not like crazy big. So I mean, it's a really nice looking statue. So I'd value the statue fairly high. It's hand painted, which is good. I don't know what its material. It's probably just PVC. And steelbook looks nice. I think this collector's edition is a little steep for what it is, but I mean, it does, like I said, the statue does really carry it. The statue looks nice. And if that is a 100-page art book, not a 50-page art book, that is pretty nice as well, too.
Yeah. So, I'll give it...
Here, that's a metal display case. Okay, so that's not just a box. That's a metal display case. That actually is kind of cool.
With LED lighting. It does say with
LED actually...
lighting.
Okay, that makes up for the statue being a little bit smaller and probably PVC.
Yeah.
So that actually is nice to have a metal little diorama display case for it. That actually is really cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of because I'm like you. I'm trying to be a bit more picky about collector's editions. Back in the day when you and I worked for a specific retailer, I think you and I both would buy pretty much any collector's edition that ever came out. And it got to a point where it's like, do I need to do that? But I'll give this game a fair shake. I'll see what it is, what it's about, and see if it's improved. If they make the combat more tightened up, so to speak, I think I'll be happy.
Do you think you're going to go for the collectors?
I am. I have it pre-ordered. So I'm getting the
pre-ordering and picking up are two different things.
Well, it's getting shipped to me, so I mean, I guess if I don't want it, I could return it. But as of now, I am getting the collector's edition. Which I'm on
the fence about it. Unfortunately, it is another one of those collector's editions where it forces you to buy. Callisto Protocol did this too. It forces you to buy the console version of it. It's not like PC friendly. One thing I'll say to Bandai Namco's credit, I had a little bit of trouble with their ordering system, but to their credit, I will say, this is the case for Tekken's collector's edition as well too. They do have a PC collector's edition, so you don't have to. You can get all the collector's edition content and a PC code. Play the game on Steam. You don't have to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation version to get all the collector's edition stuff and then buy the game again as well. So that is something I appreciate.
Yeah, because we want to buy digital where you have nothing to show for your money, of course. So,
okay, whatever.
that could be our next episode.
Burn it to a disc. That'll be a fun one. We should really debate that. All
right, well, that's Lords of the Fallen. One that you played through the entirety of the first game, and you enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it so much, but I am willing to give it another shake. Hopefully, they've improved upon it based on my experience with it. This is kind of like a out of nowhere one, but I'm gonna check Sonic Superstars out. This is a quick trailer, so. So, full disclosure, I am not a huge Sonic fan. However, I am a family man. I have a child that's approaching her teenage years, and I'm married, and we have a toddler with us. So I'm always on the lookout for games that I can play with my family. Try to entice them with my hobby, get them involved, and even though they're not playing some of the more complicated games that I play, I'm still able to enjoy my hobby with my family. So I'm always on the lookout for games like that. And I think Sonic Superstars is going to easily fit that motif for me. And it looks fun. It's couch co-op and it's online co-op. So I think it's going to perfectly fit that. It's really the only reason why I wanted to show that off. I know you yourself, you have a young one as well. Not quite that age where you'll be able to enjoy.
Yeah, she's a long way from being able to.
She's a long way.
And it's. I mean, it remains to be seen if she'll be, into video games to the same extent, But anyways, I'm to put my cards on the table too. I'm not a Sonic fan. I grew up a Nintendo kid, really, to be honest with you. I was, I had a Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I don't think I ever had. My only interaction really with Sega during that entire time period was at through relatives and friends, going over to their house and seeing the systems, and I was intrigued. I was tempted at some points to be like, hey, there's some cool stuff on here, but I just never got into it. So I was not really a Sonic or Sega kid, but I don't hate Sonic, and actually, when Sonic actually did make the transition over to being a third party, and it was actually on. I think the first serious Sonic game I played was Sonic Adventure 2 on GameCube, which is a fantastic game. I really enjoyed that. I had a blast with that. So that was my introduction to Sonic. So I enjoy Sonic casually, So yeah, this does actually look pretty nice. I mean, in terms of graphics, I think it actually looks pretty cool. I like the style of it, and I like the idea of a multiplayer Sonic. It just seems like an obvious kind of thing that they should do. So yeah, I mean, if you're into Sonic, I mean, I think that seems like a no-brainer to me. That one looks pretty good, but I'm just not really. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games that I'll probably end up picking up because it serves the same purpose as your multiplayer Mario games. It's easy for me to sit down with my wife and my oldest, and hey, let's play a game together, and we're gonna play some Mario, or in this case, we're gonna play some Sonic, and we're gonna have some fun, and maybe banter with each other, and that's okay. So I encourage that. If anybody out there, especially dads out there, if you have your video game hobby, get your wife involved, get your kids involved, have them involved with you in your hobby. They don't have to play, the tough stuff that you might enjoy, but get them involved in even the small stuff, they'll enjoy that, and so will you. So that's my PSA for the day. I'm gonna say
I'm more realistic about it. I just say get them into if you're dealing with your wife or your daughter, get them into like an Animal Crossing. They'll enjoy that, or a like my wife, for instance, she's really into the fashion designer games. Like there's Fashion Dreamer coming out this year. She's really into that. So maybe some Kirby, things like that. So I'm you can kind of introduce them to other stuff like this, but you got to be realistic about it too.
Hey, my wife and my daughter, we've gone through Super Mario 3D World, collected all the extra stuff, and did everything we could. Of course, it's usually me yelling at them, "Hey, don't forget to jump for that coin." But it's still good fun.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about it. I'm taking a look at this list. I know you have something on your radar. I'm actually going to save that for towards the end, maybe. But let's see. What's this Alan Wake? This is a short trailer.
Oh boy, yeah, go get it over with.
You know what? I'm going to say this. With Alan Wake 2, I'm not even going to watch it. But I'm going to say I was really expecting an announcement that they were going to do a physical release. I'm an old-fashioned guy. I like my video games physically. I want something to show for the money that I pay for. And this game looks interesting enough, but it's not going to be a day one purchase for me. I very much liked the first Alan Wake, and the remaster they did was a very good remaster, but the fact that they're not doing a physical release on this at all is kind of mind-boggling, especially since it's a full retail price at $60 or $70, something like that.
What's really unique about this game is it's one of the few games that successfully upsets you and me at the same time, because it really does it very effectively too, because it like you said, there's no physical release, and on PC for the digital release it's an epic exclusive.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So that means eventually it probably will make its way to Steam, like maybe, well, who knows, with the remaster. The original Alan Wake is on Steam, but the remaster is still not on Steam.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe maybe it will never come on Steam, or maybe it'll be like 2 years before it comes on Steam, and by then no one will care. So it's I predict. I think I'm safely predicting this game will crash and burn, and its PC sales will be next to zero, and we'll see how it does on console. I think the first game
there's a big campaign. There's a big campaign on it for physical release. A lot of gamers are not happy about it not having a physical release, which makes me feel good, because I don't want. I mean, I know the digital age is going to be coming in full force, and soon everything's going to be digital. And I've spoken to you about this off screen. When that day comes, I'm probably done with whatever modern iteration of gaming is at that point. And then I'll just stick with what I have currently, because I am very much against spending money on a digital version of something and not having anything to really show for it. I want to be able to hold something in the palm of my hand and say I own this, versus something being downloaded on a modem or a hard drive rather, and that's my.
I think physical.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, physical will always have some kind of presence to some degree, but yeah, no, I don't. It seems baffling to me. This game baffles me, like how they can, like simultaneously, like I said, just upset everybody at the same time.
Yeah,
it's really remarkable. Like, I mean, it's almost like they went down a checklist, and then the game itself. You get to the game itself, it looks kind of like. Is this going to be like another, like, do you even play as Alan Wake in this game? Like, it seems like it's focusing on like other characters.
They did confirm that if you want to only play as Alan Wake, you can play as Alan Wake only in this sequel. You don't have to play as that additional character. I don't know if you miss any big story beats by doing that, but I will admit that Alan Wake 2... I want to I want to play it, but it does look very generic. It doesn't look anything where it's like, I have to play it. It just looks like a very basic game.
It's not like exciting us really at all.
No, it's not. When I heard this announced, when I first saw this announced, 3 years ago, I was like, oh man, they're really doing it now. Good for them. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll play that. And then when they announced it earlier this year, or even, or maybe it was at the Video Game Awards, whenever they announced that it was going to be a digital release only, that killed it for me. I was like, not going to buy it, not going to get it. If it reviews well and the audience likes what they play with it, I'll buy it if it drops down to like $10. But I'm not gonna pay full price. I just refuse to pay $60 or $70 for a digital copy of a video game. I refuse to do that. You can't convince me otherwise that that's a smart financial investment. And that's just the way my mentality is. So
I agree.
That said, let's move on. Let's watch some Mortal Kombat 1, because I saw some of this at the... I didn't see the whole trailer. I was kind of like watching this on the side while I was working. And but I want to check out Mortal Kombat 1. We were talking about it earlier with Tekken. Some of the fatalities looked pretty cool, so let's give this a look.
Outworld can be both alien and intoxicating to Earthrealmers. While our realms are at peace, there are Outworlders who would prefer us to be at war. General Shao.
Victor of the Tavarian War. Conqueror of the Quatan Plains. All of Outworld is grateful for his service. You would consign us to endless war.
Better that than be Liu Kang's lapdog.
Did not your illustrious father teach you that war is the last resort? Do not forget that, General. We gather once again to honor my late husband's legacy, to continue the tournament that he founded with Lord Liu Kang.
Empress Sindel.
Let us meet your champion.
Earthrealm's champion is Raiden, Your Majesty.
Is it me? Or is Earthrealm's champion scrawnier than usual?
He has earned his place.
Alright, so we're getting a new NetherRealm leader.
I am ready, Your Majesty. Whom shall I face?
Look at those guys in the background. What?
We will destroy your champion, Liu Kang. He will taste no victory.
Hey, Shao Kahn have his mask off.
Who's your queen?
Yeah. All right. That looked wicked. Oh,
I didn't realize it's coming so soon.
It's September 19th. Oh, we got Homelander. We got what the heck's his name from the Suicide Squad?
I see. Was that Quan Chi on the left there?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
And this guy, who's the guy in the middle? Come on, Mr. Anime guy, you got to know that.
I don't know. That's a is that like this is all like American stuff?
No, the dude in the middle, the bottom middle.
Here, let's look up to see what is the combat pack. Combat pack, Mortal Kombat 1. Let's see. Come on. Of course, you type it in. It's like, come on, give me.
Well, I know Homelander. That'd be pretty fun.
Omni-Man.
Omni-Man. That's his name. Yeah.
That's from that's American shit, isn't it?
Is it?
Invincible. Let's see. Invincible. Let's see. Invincible is an adult animated superhero television show created by Robert Kirkman for Amazon Prime Video, and yeah, this is all American shit.
Okay, and then
it's the Walking Dead guy that made it.
Oh, okay. And then what is this? Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad? I think that's his name. Or
God, they're still trying to push Suicide Squad after all this time.
I gotta say, I saw the newest Suicide Squad movie. It came out like a year or two now at this point, and it was pretty entertaining. Yeah, Peacemaker.
Yeah, Ermac. Okay, so you had some classic Mortal Kombat characters here. Yeah, Quan Chi, Takeda. Yeah, so so you got like 3 returning characters, and then you have 3 guest characters.
And that's always been a thing with Mortal Kombat. They've always had like the kind of guest characters showing up and making an appearance.
I recognize Homeland. I watched I think 3 or 4 episodes of The Boys and just kind of got out of it. But
it's okay. I mean, everybody makes it a big deal, but Homelander is the best part of that show. So to have him as a fighter, pretty cool. I think the best. Hold on a second. Let me take a look here.
what do you got?
This is my favorite because the PS3 version of Mortal Kombat kind of down there, and it had Freddy Krueger, Scarlet, Rain, and Ken Shi, and of course, if you had the PS3 version, you got Kratos as a fighter as well. So this was one of my personal favorite Mortal Kombats. I think on the Xbox version of this one, I think Spawn was a fighter. I know Spawn was on Soul Calibur 2. I feel like they've used him... Or no, Spawn was in Mortal Kombat 11. That's what he was in. Because I did buy Mortal Kombat 11 with like all the extra fighters on PlayStation. It's like $14 or something, and it came with all the DLC. It had like Joker and Spawn in there, so that was pretty cool. But this was always my favorite one because I think Kratos is very appropriate for a Mortal Kombat game, as well as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, September 19th, maybe this won't be a day one purchase for me. I know I said earlier in the show it was going to be. Probably not, because I think that's the same day that Lies of P comes out. And I'm going to want to sink my teeth into that one hardcore.
I can tell you in a second here. Let's see. Lies of PP. Let's see here.
I don't know why you got to say PP.
PP poo poo. See. You're right. Actually, it's the exact same day. It's September 19th.
Yep. I know I'm right. I'm seldom wrong. So, anyway, that was the Mortal Kombat 1 trailer. And looks pretty brutal. I don't care about whatever story they're trying to tell. It's a fighting game. I could care less.
Yeah, it felt kind of weird for like a Mortal Kombat trailer. It was very it was interesting things about it. I mean, it was very colorful, like compared to what I think of as like Mortal Kombat. And I like the stages that it showed off, like in the background. It looked really kind of cool with all the detail and stuff. That's another reason why I like Tekken so much, because Tekken has a lot of that really cool, crazy detailed background stages and everything. And yeah, no, I mean it looks it looks like a Mortal Kombat game. I mean, if this is your thing,
Yep, that's what it is. So we don't have to spend too much time on that. That might be something. Maybe I'll get that around the holiday season when it drops on a sale. Have something to kind of mess around with and kill time if I'm extra bored. But moving right along, we'll get into this. I know you're very much looking forward to this. So let's check out Armored Core 6.
Where there's coral, there's blood. That's how it's always been, 621. Something's alive. It doesn't die easy.
What? Once something's alive, it doesn't die easy? Alright.
Beautiful looking game.
Looks good. Yeah, it's a good looking game.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to dive into it. Like I said, I have to wait a little bit here, just because I have the crazy premium edition, which we will do an unboxing for.
Yes,
looking forward to that. So that's the the edition with the crazy big garage and everything. But that'll be another video. Yeah, I love Armored Core. Really got into it with the PlayStation 2 games. Had a fantastic experience with them. Played some of the more recent games too, or relatively recent, because the last game came out 10 years ago at this point. And I'm a huge fan of it. And it was for anyone's a Dark Souls fan like yourself, it was the kind of the Dark Souls in a way before Dark Souls, but it has it just has a different philosophy to how how kind of the where Dark Souls is very trial and error. It's very much memorizing the level and memorizing attack patterns. Armored Core is just as difficult in some ways, but it's about customizing, rebuilding, and getting as much as you can out of your AC as you possibly can. And you spend a good Armored Core game, you spend just as much time tinkering around in the garage as you do actually in the mission itself. And it seems like they really leaned into that pretty heavily with this one too. I think you can actually kind of the missions are longer in this one. You can actually go back and even like on checkpoints, upgrade and change around parts for your Armored Core. So that's it looks pretty fantastic. I'll probably be streaming that as well. So I will.
Better.
But yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward to that. It's terrible timing here because Starfield comes out like a week later, so it's like you couldn't space these apart a little bit, But we had like nothing for 3 months, and then now we have 2 games right on top of each other. So
it's that season, man. I mean, really, like you got Armored Core tomorrow, Starfield next week, and then although I know Lies of P isn't made by a big AAA developer, but I think the style of game it'll garner the audience from the Soulsborne games, because I think anybody who pays attention to the Soulsborne games knows what Lies of P is and is going to be picking it up, or at least trying it out.
I think Lies of P, if I were a betting man, I would say it probably has a better chance than like Lords of the Fallen would. It's basically trying to be as much of a one-to-one of a Dark Souls game as it can be, but it has a kind of an interesting coat of paint around it, and an interesting story it's kind of borrowing from. Yeah. Whereas Lords of the Fallen is also trying to do the Dark Souls thing, but in a very generic fantasy world kind of way. Yeah. And so it's I guess if I was to pick up one of the two, probably maybe Lies of P would be a better option there, just because I'd be more intrigued to see what the story's about. I played the demo for it and it was okay. I like I said, definitely not a day one purchase for me, but it might be something I check out eventually, or maybe it's something if you stream it, I'll watch you play it.
Yeah, I'll definitely stream that one. And then October, we have Spider-Man 2, which I know you're not a Spider-Man guy. I very much enjoyed Spider-Man on PS4, so I do want to play Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5. I know we got Metal Gear Solid Master Collection coming out then, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I think Detective Pikachu comes out on the Switch there.
I may get Metal Gear Solid 1 when it comes to Steam. Just that one game. That's the only one I might pick up. Just to play for it again. Just
it's not even the best one. Shame on you.
I criticize the series as a whole, but I have some nostalgia for that game. It was one of the first PlayStation games I played. So
okay, fair enough. But I think Detective Pikachu comes out on the Switch that month, and then we hit November, and of course Call of Duty, and then Super Mario RPG, which I'm very much looking forward to. I mean, we're ending the year on a very strong high note. There's something for everyone, which I always appreciate.
It's been a really strong year in general too. We'll probably have like kind of a recap video at the end of the year, I'm sure, maybe around Games Award time, like in December. But it's been a very, very unusually strong year. Like normally I struggle to find like 4 or 5 games. We'll do like a top 10 list, I'm sure, at the end of the year as well. But I mean, normally I struggle to think of games for a list like that, and this year it's like, man, it's like, how do you fit everything in?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about like Baldur's Gate 3 and like the success that that's been.
Yeah, and we missed stuff. I never actually picked up Star Wars. I didn't play Baldur's Gate 3, even though I hear it's amazing. I'll probably grab that eventually too. So I mean, it's a very we're eating good this year. I mean, it's very it's just a very jam-packed, unusual year.
Yeah, and we had an episode earlier in the year where we talked about what our Game of the Year picks would be. Or at least I remember you specifically asking me. I think we were talking about Zelda, and you said that would be my hands-down Game of the Year pick. But there's a couple of games that I haven't even played. Like everything I've been hearing about Baldur's Gate 3, I want to play that game. I want to play Final Fantasy 16. I just don't have the time for it right now. And that's
there's only so many hours in the day, right?
Right, like I kind of like...
I forgot about Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I mean, I played the demo of Final Fantasy 16, and like in true JRP fashion, it kind of has like a slow burn start, but the combat was solid, the characters were solid, it was a very solid environment. It was a game where it's like, I really want to continue playing this. It's just I don't want to dive into it. So I think this year kind of ends pretty basic for me. Lies of P, just like the other Soulsborne games, I've always like picked up and played those games casually. Elden Ring was the first one I really sunk my teeth into because it was kind of different in terms of like its open world setting. But usually with a Soulsborne game or a style game like that, I'll pick it up, play it for a few hours, put it down, and come back to it later. Usually it happens if I get stuck on a boss. You gotta decompress a little bit. And then we got the Mario games. Those are pretty straightforward games. Spider-Man 2, I'm sure, will be pretty straightforward. So those will be like easy, quick finishes. So come like the end of November, December, when we're locked in, the bowels of winter, that's when I may consider a game like Baldur's Gate 3 or Final Fantasy 16, where it's just like, okay, I got nothing else to do. Let me just time sink into these games and enjoy them properly.
Yeah, I agree. Baldur's Gate's probably the next one on my list of, aside from the two that I'm playing next year, that would probably be the next one I would consider jumping into.
Right on. Well, moving right along, I do want to... I don't want to steal the thunder from Armored Core 6, but I am a big Metal Gear fan. The Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, there were a couple of updates regarding the game. First off, regarding its performance. All platforms except the Switch will run at 1080p at 60 frames per second. It's kind of
nice.
Mixed reaction. I feel like with the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, why they wouldn't try to push that closer to 4K is a little bit beyond me, but whatever. 1080p for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, that's fine. 60 frames, that's fine. Switch docked mode will run at 1080p 30 frames per second, and then handheld mode will be 720p 30 frames per second. That's atypical of a Switch game in general. I'm a little bit surprised, though, because these are games that came out on the PS1 and PS2, really. So I'm a little bit surprised that they couldn't push these games. I don't know if it's Konami just not wanting to mess with it too much to delay it from coming out on the Switch. I don't... As I've stated, I don't even know if I'll actually play the Master Collection. I'm going to be getting a copy to have sealed on each platform, just out of, like you said earlier, obligation, because I am a fan of the series. But it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least that they didn't try to push the envelope, because these are PS2 era games. And then
you would hope they would be able to run a little bit better on like modern, like 20 years later hardware, but it's I guess that's just we'll never really know why, and Konami's been kind of hit or miss on some of these. Like, I mean, I see it more so from the Castlevania side of it. Like, I mean, the Castlevania, like they had like a couple of collections that came out, and the Advanced Collection was fantastic. Like, I mean, everything about that was great. They added a lot of quality of life features that were really good and really welcome and very well implemented. But before that, you had the regular Classic Collection, which is like semi-broken in some ways. So I mean, it's really hit or miss with some of these Konami stuff, and they did like a Castlevania Requiem, which was kind of like a middle of the road, like, not bad, but also they should have added some things to it. So, I don't know. You would think with these remasters and remakes, like they would, I mean, it's not like they're rebuilding this from the ground up. These are ports at the end of the day.
Sure.
So you think they would just, like try to go all out, make it look as good as possible and run as good as possible, but I don't know.
It's hard to say. I think it's just Konami trying to, keep it as safe.
It's
safe as
it's
safe
a payday.
as possible.
You know, we know it's a payday, but
yeah,
it's like yeah. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's.
And it does appear too that they haven't altered these games at all. They have included it's you know, this is the world we live in now, but they have included a disclosure where it says that some content is considered outdated. And so that this is a double-edged sword to me personally. On one hand,
I'm trying to remember like what's even like considered controversial. Like,
man, there were so many innuendos in the first game in Metal Gear Solid 1.
I guess so, but
I mean, it's just like for you and I, it's not controversial, right? Because I guess we are somewhat rational, reasonable people. You know, where we understand that it's a video game, it's an action. Stealth video game that's very much inspired by action movies of the 80s, and so therefore there's certain dialogue that occurred within that time period. But you know, there are people that exist out there that, you know, think everything's an attack against them, and so that's the reality of the world we live in. But I mean, you know, objectively speaking, there are plenty of innuendos in the first game. Plenty of innuendos in the second game. The third game, not as bad as the first two, but they're still in there. And so it's just like, you know, whatever. And it even, I think that, this article mentions it right here. Dr. Naomi tells Snake he can do a strip search of her when he completes his mission. It's kind of like
I remember that, yeah.
You know, you and I understand, okay, a good-looking woman saying that to a good-looking man, that's kind of like a no-brainer, right? But some people think evil. It's pure evil. I am happy that they are not altering the games and keeping them in their original form. It is interesting that they're not mentioning Kojima's name. They say that they're not changing the creator's original vision, but they still won't name Kojima. So that's interesting. That's because there's a lot of rumors about Kojima and Konami kind of being friendly with each other again. But you know, you can interpret that however you'd like. So that's my tidbit on Metal Gear. Very happy that the Master Collection appears to be keeping everything intact, keeping everything the same as they should. I don't know if I'll sink my teeth into it. I mean, I've played each of these games to the bone, and if I'm really bored, maybe I'll pop one in and just mess around with it. And speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, I forgot to mention this. It is going to be coming to Xbox this year. And it's looking like it will have the split-screen co-op on the Series X. The Series S will not feature that split-screen co-op, but it looks like everything on the game otherwise will be coming to Xbox. So if you're an Xbox user and you were worried about missing out on this, it looks like you won't have to worry about that much longer. So pretty cool.
Do people still have Xboxes?
I mean, people still do. I like Larian games. They're really they really seem to be stirring the pot unintentionally with regards to development. It looks like they put a lot of love and care into the development of this game, because this game's been like 10 years in the making. And good for them. I'm really happy for their success, and I think this really should be an eye-opener for other developers. Like, it's okay to take time with your games. It's okay to make sure that you're putting out the...
This was in early access for like a year on Steam as well too. So I mean, it's you know, and I guess there was a lot of cut content from my understanding of this too. There's still, even after all the time that was spent on this, there still was a lot that was cut. And
really,
yeah, from my understanding, yeah. So you know, I don't want to talk too much about the game until I've actually experienced it myself. You know, I really haven't seen much of it beyond just seeing it constantly spammed on image boards. You know? So, you know, I don't really know a ton about the game. other than like some of the romance options. And it seems like everybody loves this Shadowheart character. Like she's like the primary romance option. So, which is that's the only thing I hear about. I don't actually hear about the combat in the game or how you level up or builds or anything like that. Just everyone talks about the romance option. So it's kind of funny to me.
I've never heard of the romance options. Everything I've heard about the game is the combat, the dialogue, the missions. So I don't know. I guess we hang out in different spaces.
Clearly, we do.
But I mean, getting back to the point of this game, clearly having a lot of love put into it from the developer. Miyamoto famously said, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." And I think we encounter that a lot of times with modern video games where they rush their game out and it ends up being bad. You mentioned Star Wars, the new Jedi Knight Order game or whatever. It came out, but I remember it had a lot of controversy with it with regards to bugs and glitches and issues.
Optimization issues, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, I haven't heard anything about that game since its initial release. And it's kind of like, what does that tell you? Cyberpunk is a perfect example. Cyberpunk is really going for the No Man's Sky approach, where it came out just abysmally bad. And then
I refunded mine. I remember I had the collector's edition pre-ordered. I had it in hand, and I took it back. I refunded it.
I got lucky. I was able to scout my collector's edition. Some poor sucker.
Oh, there you go.
Some poor sucker decided to pay premium price for it. Ripping pepperoni there, buddy. But I think Larian is proving a point. I hope the developers take note. It's okay to take time with games. It's okay to make sure that you're putting out a good quality product. That's why I'm a big Nintendo fan. Nintendo's not for everyone, I get it, but name one bad first-party title from Nintendo.
All of them.
Well, okay. Well, then there's people like you who just choose to be contrarian.
No. Nintendo has its place. Even though the modern incarnations of its games don't really resonate with me the same way they did in the past. It has its place, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna cover our Gamescom coverage. I guess we had other stuff like Destiny 2. I know
there was a lot of like little things here that we just don't. If we didn't cover something here, it's probably because we just don't have a ton to say about it, really. I mean, you can't
we don't
be
care.
into everything, right? Or we just don't care. You can't go back to that list again. That's why.
This is just from opening night live, so this isn't even including like, because I know Xbox had, I think Xbox had an event today.
Oh god, you're gonna make me pull up this stupid IGN thing here. Let's see, IGN Gamescom.
I'm not making you do anything. I'm just saying, like, this is...
Let's see. Opening night, everything announced. Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything that was, like, important. Okay, we talked about Starfield. We talked... the Zack Snyder movie announcement or whatever.
Warhammer 40k Dark Tide is coming to Xbox.
Who cares? Who cares? Diablo 4 Season 2. Okay.
Who cares?
Exactly. Okay, we already talked about Tekken. We talked about that. Okay. Another Assassin's Creed game.
The PlayStation Portal. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, we forgot. Yeah, there you go.
The PlayStation Portal. Okay, we'll end out on that. How about that? How does that sound to you?
Okay, that sounds fair, yeah.
Let's
get us a visual. Put it on the main viewer here.
PlayStation Portal. So this is what it looks like in the center here. And then they're releasing a new headset variation and earbuds. Who cares?
Somebody glued somebody bisected a PlayStation 5 controller.
They cut my controller and then they glued the ends of it onto my phone.
A cheap, $40 tablet in the middle.
And all right, so here we go. PlayStation Portal Remote Player. PlayStation Portal Remote Player brings a PS5 experience to the palm of your hand. Sounds cool, right? All right, I can play the PS5 in the palm of my hand. But wait, there's more. It includes the key features of the DualSense wireless controller, including adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. There's an asterisk there. We'll get to that shortly. The vibrant 8-inch LCD screen. This is an LCD screen. Even the Nintendo Switch has an OLED screen model now. Is capable of 1080p resolution at 60 FPS, providing a high-definition visual experience that's expected from the high-quality games created by world-class developers. Listen, this is in 2015, okay? I don't want a handheld 1080p item in my hand anymore, okay? I have an OLED item in my hand with the Switch, and although Nintendo is, admittedly a little bit behind with their development game, at least they give me a high-quality screen in my hand. PlayStation Portal is the perfect device for gamers and households where they might need to share their living room TV or simply want to play PS5 games in another room of the house. It will connect remotely to your PS5 over Wi-Fi, so you'll be able to swiftly jump from playing on your PS5 to your PSP. You notice what they did there, right? The PlayStation Portal PSP. Anyway.
Yeah.
It can play supported games that are installed on your PS5 console and use the DualSense controller. It also includes a 3.5mm audio jack for wired audio, PSVR 2 games which require the headset, and games that are streamed through PlayStation Plus Premium's cloud streaming are not supported. So, somebody at Sony had the big brain thought of looking at Nintendo Wii U and said, hey, let's do that because that was successful, right? Right?
Not in the least, right? Yeah. No.
I mean,
I'm really racking my brain trying to think of like cases for like a use case for this. Like the only thing I can think of is assuming that there's not a ton of latency involved with the streaming. Like maybe you could make an argument like if you really want to play a game in bed before you go to sleep, like maybe and you have an extra $200 lying around, you could possibly get this. Like I mean, for me, if I'm laying in bed, and I'm just about to go to sleep, I mean, I'll be on my phone, or if I really wanted to play a game, I have my Steam Deck or something. But if you really, and obviously with something like a Steam Deck or a Switch, you don't have latency because it runs off of that device itself. This is that nothing. This device is just basically a streaming screen. There's no internals to this to actually run a game. This
Correct.
is using your PlayStation 5 and streaming from your PlayStation.
It's basically remote play. That's what it is.
Exactly.
It's a remote play device, which is notorious.
Which has been around since PS3. And every time I've ever tried it, back when I had PlayStation, it's been a abysmal failure. There's been tons of latency, and noticeable latency. So I know it's not my Wi-Fi connection that's the issue. So.
I don't know. We'll see about that.
but yeah, the only use case I can think of is if maybe you want to play, you're right before you go to bed or something like that. You don't have a PlayStation in your bedroom or something, I'm trying to think of like a use for this,
There's absolutely no use for this. None. Honestly, there are better options. As you said, the Steam Deck, and if you're wanting like the more modern, hardcore visuals in the palm of your hand, the Steam Deck is the option to go. And then the Switch is a very good comparable follow-up to that, where you may not get, you can't play God of War 2018 in the palm of your hands with a Switch, but you still have a great selection of games with a Nintendo Switch. The PlayStation 5 just simply doesn't have the titles out to warrant this, and for me, it's just like, I don't mind my PlayStation 5. I'm happy that I have it, and I've gotten use out of it, and will continue to get use out of it, it seems, for the foreseeable future. This would have no use for me at all, though. And I really don't understand Sony's mindset. Why did you decide to put any R&D resources into developing this? I thought you guys were pretty much done with the handheld game. The Vita was pretty much a commercial failure, from my understanding.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's not really like a handheld. It's not really... It's really an accessory to the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's a $200
accessory. You could almost just call it a controller.
Right.
It's a glorified controller type. Like it's a Wii U gamepad for the PlayStation 5 that looks a little bit sleeker.
And think of it this way too, like even if you were going the ancient route of the Wii U when that first came out, that retailed at what, $300, $250, $300, something like that. If you want something like this, even if you got the digital PS5 console, I think that retails at like $450. You're talking about spending $600 to $700 to get the digital version PS5 console with this accessory. To do what? I think on average nowadays, each American household has on average 3 televisions in the household. I think that's an actual fact.
Yeah, and
why do you need this? You don't. Need this.
And everyone has a cell phone. Everyone, I mean, it's like I don't, I'm not like lacking for things to do. Like I mean, I can game or look at my phone in every room of my house, and I mean, there's no, I'm really struggling to find a use for this.
But listen, as the kids say nowadays, low key. You don't need this much electronics in your life, man. You don't need this. This is just a blatant waste. I wonder
what the battery life is like, too.
I don't care. I would encourage anybody out there, don't buy this. Don't do it. Do not support it. Send Sony a message that they should, they caused this big-ass stink over the... Microsoft acquisition of Activision. Spend your resources more adequately than into crap like this. Maybe if you put those resources into appropriate R&D and, I don't know, made more games for your console, then you wouldn't have to worry about acquisitions of other developers, and you certainly wouldn't have to put out this shovelware. I mean, this looks like something that Sony just said, let's just have a quick tax write-off with a bankruptcy on this and, call it a day.
It's confusing. Like, I don't really know what, I don't know what it's for, what the pitch for this was. I mean, obviously, PlayStation 5, it's doing well sales-wise. I'm not trying to downplay that. It just seems like I don't know what this accomplishes for them. This doesn't get you into, I mean, if this was a new handheld, that would be interesting. And I don't know what this does for them.
And I feel like they're trying to do the same thing that Nintendo did when the Wii U came out. That was a commercial failure. But I feel like Nintendo was like, all right, let's try to get an understanding of what we're working with here. And then they kind of perfected it with the Wii U and came out with the Switch. So maybe Sony will go that same route. They're experimenting with this, and then they'll come out with something similar to a Switch later down the line, albeit more powerful.
That could be possible. Like maybe this is a first step, like sort of like how you could see the Wii U as sort of the missing link between a traditional console and what the Switch became. Mm-hmm. And I guess for me, this strikes me as what's the phrase, like a solution searching for a problem. Like, what problem does this solve? Are there a lot of people out there that are desperately trying to play? I just don't know. I just don't know what this does.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest.
Unless you're like the only case I could see for this is if you're like a diehard PlayStation loyalist and it's PlayStation's the only thing you have. You refuse to have a Switch or a Steam Deck or a tablet or a sufficient cell phone or anything like that, and you really want to play your PlayStation 5 in different rooms of the house, you don't just have another PlayStation 5 in already, then maybe you'll buy this just because it's Sony branded and you might get some use out of it. I think I know one person that will buy this, and it's not you. No, I'm not thinking of you. But I know one person that will buy this, and I think you know him too. And
well, if it's a person we're thinking of, we should collectively bully him. And
his excuse will be the PlayStation logos on the box, and that was enough.
Well, I'm gonna draw a PlayStation logo on a cardboard box and sell it to him for $300. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for episode 3 of the Reacticast. We appreciate anybody who's been watching us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that little jingly bell so you get notifications of when we upload new content. We have kind of gone into a regular schedule here where we upload videos on every Tuesday and Thursday. I've been trying to be pretty consistent with that. Usually Tuesdays will be some type of like unboxing or like a loot type video, and then Thursdays is where we will do some type of like podcast where we talk about gaming news, or in this week's case we're talking about Gamescom. So please subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get notifications of when we upload anything new for you to enjoy. I have been Rorschach with the Game Reactionists,
and I have been bored with this Gamescom, but I'm also Spectre. Yes,
and we appreciate you very much for watching. Have a great day.